All right. Have some technical issues here.
Well, good evening. Good evening.
Did I see a new opening?
We are so silly. Good evening, everybody.
Yeah.
Welcome to Authors Up, your favorite place to be on Sunday evenings at 7 p.m. And we are laughing because Miss Ruth, the one and only spectacular, amazing Ruth Griffin, put together a new opening for us. And she did not tell us that she was going to be
No, I didn't.
tonight.
Of course, it wouldn't have mattered because it almost didn't play. So, yeah, we're good.
But it did. Almost didn't, but it did.
But it did,
Yeah.
yeah. I was
And
like,
it
all
was
right,
nice. Yeah. I like that. I like the way you put the pictures together and everybody's in their places with sunshiny faces and
faces, yes.
happy. And that was good job, Miss Ruth.
Thank
Good
you.
job.
Thank you.
Good job. Anything you want to say in greeting our studio audience tonight?
Well, just welcome everybody. Thank you for coming. We wouldn't be a show without you.
That's it. That's it.
That
And
is
how
the
about
truth.
you, Victoria?
Just good evening to you, my fellow co-hosts and bronze girls. So good to be with you guys another week.
Yes, indeed, indeed, indeed. I am glad to be here, and I am anxious for us to get started because I tell you what, we have an author who has a book that is packed, power packed,
Yes,
with
indeed.
great tips and tools for life. And I can't wait. I can't wait to hear her read some things to us and share some things with us tonight. So we're going to get started as we usually do on Sunday evenings with our weekend review. And Ruth, I think you're up first tonight.
Yep, that's me. So, just a typical week. This week, however, I ended up going to a funeral for a coworker.
Oh,
Um,
Oh, wow.
it was very sudden, her passing, and to be honest,
Oh,
I have probably attended more funerals this year than in my life.
wow.
well,
Um, and I have to say, I wasn't looking forward to it. I had worked with her just on and off. So I knew a little bit about her and I thought, just the nature of everything that happened. And then I got there and her nieces, she was not a mom, but she was a very dedicated aunt. And her nieces had put on a celebration of life. And I had always heard that term, but I'd never been to one. And they didn't have a funeral, they didn't have a service. They just had we were set up in a fellowship hall, in a chapel, in a church, and they had her photo albums everywhere, like
Oh,
her
wow.
images everywhere. And I found out this woman, her the life she lived outside of the office, I mean, it was amazing. to be honest,
Wow.
and it was just, when they say avid traveler, it was like, oh no, this woman like lived her life. She was just
Wow.
amazing. And just to see that in the pictures, and there were a few people who were, crying and, mourning her,
Yeah.
as rightly as they should have been. But it was just to be able to see her life in pictures
Oh,
just
wow.
was a different perspective. And, this is not a slam on anybody else who has used that term, but that was the first real, for me,
Real
celebration of
celebration.
life that I had been to.
Wow.
It wasn't about, oh, her death. It was about the life that
The
she
life that
lived.
you lived. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
That's beautiful.
it was, and I was so glad that I went. And I'm not a social person, so I didn't stand there and talk to a whole lot of people, but it was just seeing her pictures, seeing where she had gone, what she had done. The fact that, she was a supervisor at work, but she had also been an attorney, she had been a teacher, she had been an advocate, she had
Oh,
been like
wow.
so much stuff. It was just amazing to see all that in pictures, and we know her family will miss her absolutely, but it was just a beautiful thing to see.
Wow.
Um, Beyond that. So it was, and I hate to put it this way, but it was really the highlight of my week just to be able to
Yeah.
experience it. So,
Wow.
yeah.
I think that's great.
It's a beautiful thing.
And I think it's great because it is a good reminder that we only know a piece of people's journey.
Yes.
We know the piece that affects us, whether it is a coworker or whether it is, whatever it happens to be that you are
Mhm.
delving into. But people have lives that are full,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they're touching other people way beyond what they do with us or through us or to us, and it is good to see it all,
Yeah.
or to at least see more than we get the opportunity to see, and it keeps us in a space of understanding why it's important not to judge people,
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
not to look
Right.
at that little part that you think that you think, and just come up with a whole life scenario that could be so far off base,
Oh, yeah.
because you just don't know the rest of it. So that's
Right.
good. That's
Yeah.
good. Glad you
Yeah.
had a chance to do that
A
as
and that was the thing about it too, because it literally she went to the hospital one weekend and they sent her home basically to get comfortable and die, and she passed within 2 weeks.
Oh,
And
wow.
my thought was just, "God, that is just so pointless." You start feeling like that, but then you see that and you just realize, no, her life wasn't. The impact that she made at work for the people that we work for went beyond what I saw. So
Wow.
it was a great reminder to see people.
Yep. That's good.
So, yeah.
That's good. That's good. Well, I had what was my week was an introspective one. I spent a lot of time looking at what I was doing and how I was doing it and what I was getting done, and self-imposed stress and self-imposed pressure and things like that, and trying to maintain balance and get good balance with the things that I have set out to do. Some of them
Mhm.
I've been able to do, and some of them I haven't been able to do. And one thing I was learning in Jill's book was it's okay. Now you might not hit that target all the time, but it is okay, and life goes on. And one of the things that I'm going to explore, and I don't know whether I'm going to explore it on my Thursday show or where or how I'm going to do it. But I really want to tap into and touch on the issue of dreaming,
Hmm.
Mhm.
because everybody's talking about, dust that dream off, take that dream off the shelf, and get moving and get that dream going. And I thought about it, and I thought, what is my dream? What am I really thinking about? What do I really uh, want God to do through me that can only be done if He helps me to get it done?
Right.
What's
Mhm.
big dream? I got a lot of little things going on.
Right.
Do I have a big dream? Do I have a big dream? Have I forgotten how to dream? Because sometimes when you get so busy doing uh,
Right.
things you need to do and ticking off the check boxes on the list
Mhm.
that you think God has given you to accomplish, you don't have a big dream anymore. It's about let me get through the day. If I can get through
Right.
the day.
And then what happens when the dreams are deferred?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
dreams deferred.
And I've been thinking a lot about that this week. Not too much, not so much that it was overwhelming and had me spiraling into places that I don't want to go. But
Yeah.
I know that there's something with that because it kept coming up during the week, and I'm going to have a guest on the show who is writing, producing, directing a movie. And
Mhm.
Hmm.
I'm just so proud of her and what she's doing. And we're going to talk about that on Thursday night in June. But that's big. That's a
It is a big
that's
subject.
a big dream. And I think all of us have them, even though we may not know what they are at the moment. We may not have fully discovered them or written the vision and made it plain and all of that. But I don't think that we have truly tapped in to all that's in us and all that we can accomplish. And I thought about that, Ruth, when you were talking about the lady. The little part that that affects
Yeah.
Mhm.
you, but there was so much more to her. And I think there's so much more to all of us
Right.
than what the circle sees, because
Right.
we have different circles for different aspects of our life. So
Right.
I don't know. Don't be surprised if you hear a victory verse about dreaming or something coming up
Yeah.
real soon. We'll see what he wants to do with
That
that.
sounds like there's going to be more than one show, though, because that's such a
Yeah,
broad subject, you
good,
know.
good foot. Very. I don't know what he's going to do with it, but notice I say what he's going to do with it. but
Yeah.
but I'm gonna hang out and see see what he's got in mind. So that was pretty much my weekend review. How about you, Victoria? What was going on with your week?
You know what? Y'all be so proud of me. I was able to get some more cohesive thinking done about my book.
Awesome.
Working on the title a little bit more, and I know the direction it's going. I got a little bit of writing done, not a whole lot, but I changed from shifted from one idea to another, so it's more solidified, and I just have to get some time carved out. I might have to do me a month like I did Nano in November, and just like you know what, I'm gonna hit this every day and get something done every day. Um, it's just been so much going on at work, and just distractions. But I was able to carve out some time to do that, so I was proud of myself for that.
Tell
But
Good.
other than that, just working, just living and loving, and that's it. Getting ready for my mother's coming for a visit this week here, and so
awesome.
next week it'll be a lot more to tell than this week. So getting ready for that. But other than that, it's been a good week, and and that's a good thing. I have nothing bad to report, so that's good.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Well,
All
you
right.
tell us about our guest. We got an exciting guest tonight. So tell us a
Yep.
little bit about her.
Let me get my glasses. I'll be acting like I could see, and okay. All right. Our author tonight is waiting in the wings is Miss Jill Wright. Jill works with moms who run their own businesses. We often look at them like supermoms, but they struggle with being overwhelmed and exhaustion, and that can lead to them making damaging mistakes, costing them clients or their relationships, and definitely their sanity. They're considering giving up on their dreams because they feel like there just aren't enough hours in a day to run a business and a family. The truth is, according to Jill, A successful super mom needs a super system to keep it all together. And that's what Jill helps them create. She is a time management strategist who knows how to create systems for super moms that support them in their business and in their family. Jill helps her clients take ownership of their time and make it all work without the overwhelm. Her supermom clients end up not only with a better running business, but also time for family, self care, and even rest. And before the show, we said, where was Jill when we were raising our kids, right? Jill is an author, a speaker, and is also the host of the Grow Like a Mother podcast. And she'll tell us later where you can find her. Tonight, we're going to be talking with her about her book, Happy, Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise. So, and we're also going to tell you a bit about her podcast, which is also called the Grow Like a Mother podcast, where you get weekly doses of wisdom and inspiration. So, give us a few minutes for a short break, and then we'll be right back with our author, Jill Wright.
Yay! Welcome, Jill.
Thank you so much for
Welcome,
having
welcome,
me.
Of course. We are so happy to have you here.
Yes,
We're
we
excited.
are.
Yeah, me too.
All right. So tell us about your book, Happy, Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise.
Yeah, I kind of dub it like a daily companion guide for ordinary people who want extraordinary lives. And the intention with this book, it's kind of like a page a day calendar. You've seen those where they give you like an inspiration and then you put it on your bathroom mirror for a couple of days and then you get the next day. So it's kind of built like that, where each page is kind of its own thing, but I really didn't want the pages to be thrown in the wastebasket after each day. I wanted this resource because honestly, when I was in my 20s and all through growing up, I really had bad anxiety. And whenever I was in the process of having overwhelm or anxiety, I couldn't find my tools that I knew I was learning at therapy and I knew I was learning through books. But in the moment, I couldn't access those. And I just kept a Word doc on my computer. And over the years, more and more tools got added. And eventually it turned into this book.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I was going to ask about the entries. You talk, I think you have some for every, the happy, healthy, wealthy, wise part. I'm assuming you probably had quite a resource. How did you select what went in there, or was it a dump?
It
For lack
was
of a better
it was kind of a dump. I wanted it to be as full and valuable as I could make it,
Mhm.
without being overwhelming for people, because the intention really is for it to be an easy access, like a quick tool. But once I decided that this information had to be gifted to the world and had to go out for other people to access it because it had helped me so much, then I began the process of putting the different tidbits into pillars of happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, all the things we want our lives to be. And so it did take quite a lot of discerning, and I worked with my editors to figure out, well, does this belong in happy or wise? There was overlap.
Mhm.
So I had to get really clear on how I wanted each pillar to really feel and make sure that the right pieces went in the right pile. But honestly, it doesn't really matter. They're all, you know, they're all good.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay. So you started off by saying, that since you were a young girl, you knew that writing was your calling. And obviously, like the rest of us, life got in the way of that. How did you come back to writing?
I think it was having this space to do it. I can definitely relate to Victoria saying that she's got this full-time job and she's living life. And so finding the time to put in the actual writing part can be really difficult for us.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so I think for me, it was the point in my life where I had separated from my marriage, and I was for the first time ever like free for a few days with no one but me in the week, where my kids were with their dad. And I used that time really intentionally for a lot of personal growth and development. And I decided to prioritize the book again. And so I would do it before work and I would piece it in after work and just kept plugging away. I I'll be honest that I hit it like a major snag once the edits were done because I didn't want it to be done. I enjoyed the process so much, so I kind of shelved it. Did anyone else do that? Is that just me? I just wanted it to keep it.
No, ma'am.
Okay. No, and then honestly, that is understandable because I will say, even now when I write, I go back and I look at it and it's just you enjoy that process. You enjoy going back into whatever world you're creating. So you're
Mhm.
not alone in that. So
Mhm.
how long did it take you to compile your book?
I would say by the time I realized I wanted it to be a book, it was all written, basically.
Wow.
It was all
Oh,
in that Word doc. I had just kept that Word doc going for 20 years. So it was all there. But by the time I figured out what I wanted it to look like and how I wanted it to be structured, and then to actually do all the pieces and the editing and the copy, proofreading, all of that stuff, it was probably about 2 years from start to finish.
okay. So you said when you decided you wanted it to be a book, did you imagine it to be anything else other than that?
I thought it might be one of those calendars.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I liked the idea of that because for me as a busy mom, I don't have time to sit down and read books all the time. I have much more time now that my life has shifted a bit, but I always wanted those little pieces of wisdom, and I like to go through the day with an intention or something to focus on. So those page a day calendars, that format had been very supportive for me. Um,
Hmm.
just feeling like, okay, I got one moment today to focus on growth or focus on something positive, right? And I was that girl who would have them all up, at my locker at school, or I would have them on my bathroom mirror. And so I had envisioned that, but it turns out to self-publish that it's really difficult to find a
Yeah.
company who will do that format,
Mm.
and very expensive as well. And so I started just looking into other ways to get the book out there. And I worked with a coach and realized like it just needs to be out. It doesn't necessarily need to look exactly like this. I had to do a little bit of letting go of my expectations and sort of surrendering to the process of what it could look like. And once I opened my mind to the idea of other possibilities, it seemed to flow pretty naturally, which felt good.
That's awesome. That
Mhm.
is awesome. Sometimes that's what we need to do, first and foremost is to get it out and then
Mhm.
you can build
Mhm.
from there. And I feel like you have certainly built from there. You have a podcast, you are a speaker. You know, tell us how that process went. What came first
Mhm.
and how do each piece work together?
I think the podcasting was the first piece of me really stepping into the role of sharing the information I was learning.
Hmm.
During the pandemic, I had the two babies and I was doing a lot of parenting by myself and had a job. I was trying to run actually a retail store. I was an entrepreneur at that time, and pandemic came in and everything got crazy. And I really suffered from a lot of postpartum depression at that time too. And I thought I need tools. I need to take control of my mindset so that I don't get swept away in all of this chaos because I couldn't control anything external. And as I would learn and grow and find podcasts and books that resonated with me, I wanted to share those with other moms. And so that's how the podcast came about, because I found that I had to do a lot of tweaking. The information that I was learning was written by like old retired men who were not at all in the same phase of life as me. Our financial situation and resources were not the same. But I liked the ideas and I saw the value. And so I tweaked it to fit with my sort of very real working mom life. And the podcast started. And I got such good feedback through there. I'm in year 3 now, which is very exciting, but it gave me the confidence to get the book together, to have something else to offer to people. I have a child who's neurodiverse, and so I'm very conscious of different people learn different ways. So for some people, learning through listening isn't the most effective. So I thought, well, maybe I'll create a book, right? And then from there, I just decided that I wanted to continue to share the messages as often as I could. And I signed myself up for some speaker websites. And so that's really become another avenue. I speak a lot at school boards for teachers and for parents and for graduates. And I'm speaking next week at a graduation event. So really getting these kids in their, like, a really pivotal moment of life to be able to impart some wisdom as they transition from, high school into real life. It's just such a thrill. It's not all mom focused, but that's the lens I come through. So that's sort of where I shine the best.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, you shared a list of your leaders and teachers who have inspired you at the back of your book. Why did you include that?
I wanted to sort of acknowledge that these ideas were not something that was made up in my head, that I am not different than any other person who's just out there trying to get resources and learn, and just give credit where credit is due. Because I find that when I was learning, I would listen to a podcast and they would have a guest. And then if I liked that guest, then I would go and follow that guest and see what they had to teach. And then maybe they had a book or a podcast. And that's how I found everybody, is by being able to just reach out as I would learn a new name or hear about a new book. And it was really helpful for me to have all of these resources. So in an effort to save everyone 3 years of time, finding if they resonate with my tone and the advice that I'm giving, these people are also where you're going to want to look, because all of my ideas are from these people, and they've been reshaped or rejigged with my flavor. But like, these are also the authors of the book, really.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right. So where do you go from here?
I've created my most recent endeavors, creating what I call the Village. It's online community for moms. And they always tell us that it takes a village to raise a child. And I really think it takes a village to raise a mother too, right? And we are not, in society and in our culture, especially here in the West, we are not living next door to or down the street from our aunties and grandmas and moms and sisters. And we are not able to have that same level of support that mothers throughout history have experienced. And we're suffering, and we're suffering in silence, and we're lonely, but we think no one else is lonely because social media makes everyone look like they're living their best life. And so I wanted to create a space that was for moms who are in similar stages of life. A lot of the people I work with are business owners. So they're coming at it through that lens, or they're growth focused, but they don't necessarily have those people in their immediate physical inner circles. So yeah, the Village is just this really beautiful community of moms, and we do things like co-working, because if we're entrepreneurs, sometimes it can be lonely behind your computer screen. So every week we come together for an hour and sort of work virtually together, and we do networking hours, so we can just socialize and meet mom friends, because it's really hard as a mom, as an adult in general, to make new friends, right? So yeah, that's what's next for me, is building that community up.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, Andrea, what questions do you have?
I don't have any. I don't have any questions, but I do have a request of Jill, and we had kind of talked about it a little bit before the show, because there are so many really great nuggets, really great nuggets in each section. And I asked her if she had to choose 2 or 3 things from each section, maybe only one, that you think is, just the most important. And it may be for you, because we did talk about that as well. The fact that my journey as a mother, when I look at how old my child is, It just may not fit within the boundaries and borders of the audience or the group that is dealing with your book right now. But there are some things in there that I don't care how old you are or how old your children are,
Yes.
still apply. And it's
Yes.
still wisdom, and it's still very good nuggets simply for life. So I'd like to, and you don't have to do every section if you don't want to, but just, pick a few things that you think are just really, really important, or that you think are really challenging. Those kinds of things that if you can get over this, you can really, really open up a world of opportunity and a change in mindset. So
Yeah, thank you. I would love to share that with you. And I think you nailed it. Mindset is where it all starts, right?
yeah.
And we have control of that. But that is a challenge for us to accept because we don't want to have control of it. It's way easier if it's out of our control because then we
Right.
don't have to take responsibility for any of our situation.
Right.
So it all starts with mindset. But yes, the book certainly is not just for moms. I have envisioned this as a resource for anybody who is looking to better their life. And I went a little bit nuts with the stickies as you guys were doing your intros. I'm like, oh, this one's so good. But I will make sure that we're not overwhelmed here. So the book, of course, is structured in 4 sections. So we'll start with the happy section. For me, everything that I put within the happy section, chapter, if you will, is really to remind you of your power to claim back that happiness, right? Remind you that you're sort of at the wheel. And so each page has at the bottom of it, first it'll have its, 1 or 2 paragraphs of the lesson. And then at the bottom, there's an affirmation, a quote, or a journal prompt, maybe a question to ponder, right? So I want to share those, I think. Those are the ones that I think are really going to make a big impact, and your listeners will be able to take right away and sort of implement them without being overwhelmed with information.
Okay.
So within the happy section, one of the affirmations, or this is really just I don't know what I would classify this as, but I'll read it to you. Don't worry about being someone others want to be around. Be somebody that you want to be around, which really helped me as I was going through the teenage years and the figuring out who you are in life. And everyone wants to people please and be who everyone else, or who they think everyone else wants. But we need to focus on who we are in our own company and being the person that you want to be around, because you'll attract more of that into your life. I have a section here that talks about happiness comes when aligned action is taken towards your dreams. And it's just a reminder that you don't get a happy life on accident. We are all dealt different cards, and we all have a choice of how we play the game. And we have to take action towards the things that we want if we want to get them. And that includes our mindset and our happiness. So just remembering that all that's standing between your current situation and your ideal future is the belief that you can do it, and the conviction to keep putting the work in day after day until you get there. And I think that's super relevant for authors specifically, right? Yeah.
That's it.
Oh. Within the healthy section, my focus was less on thinking about it just as physical health, but being holistic in our view of health in our minds, in our body, in our soul. How can we really make sure that we feel nourished as a whole person within health? So one thing that this is a hill I will die on is this section is titled Make Sleep Your Secret Weapon, because I think we're really in this culture of just, oh, I'll sleep when I'm dead. I've got so much to do. I don't have enough time. But you will be so much more productive in the time that you're putting in, so much more present, so much better able to show up as a version of you that you choose to be. You have more control over everything if you're rested.
Yeah.
And there's a parenting expert who I followed like as a guru when I had my little babies. Her name is Jamie Glowacki, and she always said sleep is an actual nutrient.
Oh
So
wow.
that's one piece.
Ah,
I
right.
love that.
Yeah.
Never forget. Um, and then another piece with regards to health is our energy, right? Um, one thing that we often don't remember is that energy isn't just something that comes to you, you actually make it. So you have to go ahead and sing and dance and jump and run and stretch, whatever helps your body feel like it's coming alive. And if you move your body for a few minutes, that's how you get the energy flowing that you're looking for, right? And energy, of course, is the most important ingredient for life and success. And one of the personal development mentors that I looked up to, Brendan Burchard, says that the power plant does not have energy. The power plant generates the energy,
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm.
right?
Yeah. Hmm. Hmm.
And then if we move into the wealthy section, again, it rhymes, and I wanted to make sure that the title was catchy and memorable. But when I say wealthy, I'm really talking about abundance,
Mhm.
an abundance mindset in all areas of your life. So I share with the readers a quote from my grandpa. His favorite quote was, "Don't try to keep up with the Joneses because the Joneses will just move on you." And it's
Mm.
a reminder that we should be happy with what we have right now rather than constantly searching and reach. I'll be happy when, right? I'll be happy when I get that thing, when I have that
Mhm.
job, when the kids move out, when the bank account is a higher number. But we lose focus on now, and that's tied in with mindfulness, but really just to create that sense of wealth and abundance in our life in different areas, we need to start with appreciating what we currently already have, you know?
Yes.
Hmm.
Another thing that I really loved the idea of, and I can't remember where I heard this one, so it's not credited to anybody, but the idea is that money is a lousy way of keeping score. And I encourage the readers to reframe, what are all the ways that you get paid, right?
Mm.
Do you get paid in compliments? Do you get paid in kindness and in smiles and in hugs? Maybe you're a business owner and you can be paid in testimonials. Focus on those things that are bringing value in exchange, like return for value rather than just cash. Because especially in this society, we can get so focused on our cash and our bank account and our bills, and it's not the only way we can keep score of how we're doing, right?
Awesome.
Right. And then I'll just leave you with a few in the whys section. This is my favorite section because it really focuses more on our intuition and our innate wisdom, right? And these lessons that we learn and we get wise having gone through the experience. Unfortunately, that's the only way to get wise is you have to go through the
Yeah.
hard thing,
Hmm.
right? And we'll just keep being given the same lesson over and over to learn until we get it.
Mhm.
Um, but I remind the readers that your intuition is your inner compass, and that's where you want to really focus. And a piece of advice that I received, I think it was on a Rachel Hollis podcast. She says, stop comparing or stop taking advice from people whose life you don't want. So if, Aunt Judy is giving you financial advice, but she's working 3 jobs because she can't keep a roof over her head. She's probably not the person you want to be taking financial advice from, right? Make sure you're taking advice from people whose area of life they're trying to teach you is something you're aspiring to achieve.
Right.
Don't take anyone's advice.
Great.
And then the last one, it always sort of leaves people with like a mic drop. They're like, oh my God. So you cannot change the people around you, but you can change the people around you.
All right. Yes.
I love
Yes.
that one. I love
Yes.
Right?
That is a big mic drop.
that.
So, yeah, the book is just filled with all kinds of little tidbits like that to help us
Wow.
reflect and reframe.
I've got one that covers everything for me, and it was the quote by Emerson, I think,
Yes.
Ralph Waldo Emerson, and it says, "Finish each day and be done with it.
I like that.
Finish each day and be done with it. You have done what you could. Some blunders and absurdities no doubt crept in. Forget them as soon as you can."
Yeah.
Tomorrow is a new day. You shall begin it serenely and with too high a spirit to be encumbered with your old nonsense.
All
I
right.
love that for my happy. I love it for my healthy. I love it for my wealthy. And I love it for my
Me
wise.
too. It's literally been
Really, yeah.
printed and available to me for the past 5 years. When I found it, I was like,
Wow.
this is
Yes,
everything.
I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. Thank you
I'm so
so much,
glad.
Jill. Thank you. And thank you for picking the ones that you did because I think those are amazing. Those are
Thank you.
amazing. Miss Victoria, I'm turning it over to you.
Well, it's just my time to say what I always say, but I mean it. Get the book. Get the book. Get the book. This is a good one. This is a good one. You know what? I want to read one that I especially liked. Eat your frog. That phrase comes from a story that says, if the first thing you do each morning is eat a live frog, nothing worse can happen for the rest of the day. Yeah, get the book, y'all. And the premise under that is, it isn't being perfect that makes the difference. It
Right.
is simply committing to showing up in a way that you can sustain and feel good about. And y'all, this book is full of these kind of nuggets that drop the mic moments, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the way you set the book up. I enjoyed the quotes, the life lessons in each day. So I'm kind of glad you didn't do it as a calendar, because I can pick it up and read it any day. So it's not just May 1st, May 31st, May 26th. I can pick this up any day and find something I need for that day. And it's beautifully written. um, could you tell our listeners and our viewers where they can find the book, and then how they can get in touch with you if they need to? Because you have some free resources that you give
I
away as
do.
well.
Yeah. First, thank you for that. I'm so glad that you all enjoyed it and it resonated with you. That's the goal, and that means everything to me. If
You're welcome.
readers or listeners are looking for the book, they can find it on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. If they're in Canada, it's at Chapters Indigo, our big book retailer. I also sell it on the website. If you're looking to get like a signed copy, I do that. My website is just my name. It's jillwright.ca, because I'm up in Canada, so we have a
Okay.
.ca. And yeah, there's free resources through the book. There's links scattered throughout the book that if you're looking for some free resources, you can go and download them. But also, I have free resources on my website, different video series, and a quiz, which is super fun. The Supermom quiz, I love. And so, if anyone is feeling called to connect further, I'm at Grow Like a Mother on social media, and that's the name of the podcast too.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I just love it. Get the book. You will not be sorry on this one.
Well, Jill, we certainly appreciated you stopping by Authors Up tonight. We're so glad that you came, and even more, we're glad that you wrote the book because
Yeah.
it is a concise way of being able to get that little extra that you may need just to make it through. I mean, there's lots of challenges, lots of things going on with life, just with life. And anytime you have an opportunity to be encouraged in a snapshot, and you can be able to take it away and just remember that thing, remember that saying, remember that quote
Yeah.
that helps you to make it through. I just think it's phenomenal. And I love the way that you have put it together. And I do love the topics that you have chosen because these are the ones that carry you through, not just a mom, but anyone through life, whatever is going on. Because I see Antonio is on the line. So, Antonio, you get this book too.
Right.
And Naikayeta is with us this evening. Good evening, Naikayeta. Thank you so much for joining and for being with us tonight. That is it for us. And again, Jill, thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing with us. And is there any one thing that you would like to leave our listeners with before we close out tonight?
Well, first, just thank you for this wonderful opportunity to share and talk. It's been really my pleasure, and it's been a gift to chat with you ladies. The thing that really just wants to come through as a final word is to trust yourself through this. You're allowed to make mistakes. You're allowed to change your mind, but just trust that you can figure out the next right step. And if it's the wrong step, trust that you can figure out how to make it right. I think that we often give our sense of control away, and we really need to reclaim that back.
All right. I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
Reclaim it. Reclaim it. Miss Ruth, you always have an amazing way of closing us out and telling us where, I was getting ready to say, and telling us where to go, but that doesn't really. Maybe
I
I
ain't
should
sending nobody away
frame that,
anywhere.
rephrase that a little way. But tell them where they can find us. I think that's a better way to say it.
Absolutely. So we are on social media. You can find us on Facebook, on Instagram, YouTube. Just search for Authors Up or Authors Up Show. You will find us. We also have a podcast as well, so you can hear this program and many others from our almost 5 years. Um,
Woo!
Yep. So you can find us on any platform of your choice. You can email us at authorsup@gmail.com if you have any questions or if you're interested on being on the show. We'll happy to hear from you. So that's it.
That is it. And that is it for us for tonight. I thank all of you for coming, those who made comments, those who are just hanging out in the background. We thank you for being with us as well. And come on back. This is our favorite place to be on Sunday evenings at 7 p.m. We hope that you will make it yours as well. We always have lots going on, lots of interesting people like Miss Jill, who was with us tonight, who have wonderful things that they have written and would love to share with us and with our listeners and viewers. So come on back next week. Put us on your calendar. Be sure to join us at 7 p.m. And on Saturday evenings at 7 p.m., we do a replay of this program. So if you know anybody who may have missed it tonight, be sure that you invite them to come back to ALH Broadcasting at 7 p.m. on Saturday, and they can hear Miss Jill there as well. So that is it for us. Join us next week. Have an absolutely amazing week until we see you again. And I tell you, you just got to be here because you never, ever know what's going to happen when you tune in to Authors Up. That's it.
Might have a new intro next week. Right?
That's right.
Yeah, no, we won't. We won't.
Ruth assures us that will not be the case. But come back next week, everybody. Have a great week, and we will see you next time. Jill, again, thank you so much.
Good night, everybody. Good night, Bronze Girls.
Good night.